Well, here we go again, bartender. Another day, another dollar in your pocket. And this is for fair use and educational purposes. What's going on here is we got we got Granville Ritche. I mean, so, it's like, man, it's been like 3 or 4 immigrants in a row. It's damn near like an epidemic of these people coming over here with their customs and their traditions. Just like when Scarface and them came over here. When they come over here, they make it seem like everybody is like it's crazy and shit, and like this is the way America is, and America ain't really, it ain't been this motherfucking crazy. This some new shit. And what I call it is culture shock. You know what I mean? Because people is going through this culture shock, get over here thinking that it's American pie and American dream and shit, and everybody need a job, and it ain't all them, a whole bunch of jobs, and it's already overpopulated. They turn this place to a third world country, so all these opportunities is running out, and we all in the soup line when it comes to opportunity. And these people, and I ain't blaming it on just the opportunity and a lack of job. I'm blaming it on some of these people are just crazy. They just want it their way or no way at all or nothing. And then they blaming everybody else because that shit is a fairy tale, and that shit ain't real. And if you a slave master, nigga, let me see you. Ain't nobody gonna volunteer to be your slave without a dollar bill.
On May 16th, 2014, 9-year-old Felicia Williams would leave her house to go get food with her trusted godmother and her godmother.
So I don't know what they expect when they jumped off the boat or
that they had plans to eat. The man would
or kick down the border.
Nigga,
ain't shit changed.
Still
the same old thing.
Felicia, who was
if you was crazy before you got to America, you still gonna be crazy when you get here.
Her mother and 3 sisters in Tampa, Florida. 23-year-old Ebony Wiley had befriended the family after moving next door to them, as she worked at a nursing home as a housekeeper nearby. Over a period of around 8 months, Ebony would grow very close to the young girl Felicia and the family as a whole, and they would all affectionately refer to her as the girl's godmother.
Did you and Felicia Williams become close?
Yes.
Can you describe the kind of relationship that you and Felicia Williams had?
It's like a mother and daughter. I fed her. If she needed anything, I gave it to her. It was a very close relationship of like a mother and a daughter relationship.
Did you think of yourself as like a pseudo godmother to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you see each other daily or a couple times a week?
Daily. She'll make sure she comes see me.
Ebony had recently met a new man and let him into her life after he had struck up a conversation with her on the street. May 13, 3 days before the death of young Felicia, Ebony and one of Felicia's sisters, Jeremisha, were walking to the store close to their house.
Did you meet this person who first identified themselves as Trevor? Where did you initially meet that person?
I was walking down the street with Hattie Girl. Was on the way to going to the store, and he seen me, caught eye contact. I walked on the back road, and then he pulled up behind us and pulled up, and he tried to talk to me.
And when you said that he had pulled up behind you, can you describe how that happened?
He pulled up, and he was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Hey," and he was trying to talk to me. He said, "Oh, I thought you was a young girl." I was like, "No." And
let me stop you for a minute. Was he, you said he was driving?
Yes.
What kind of vehicle was he in?
It was a silver Lexus vehicle.
A silver Lexus?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you speak first to him, or did he speak to you first?
He spoke to me first.
And what was the first thing that he said to you?
He said, "Hey." I was like, "Hey." And he was like, I was trying to make sure that you wasn't a little girl. I was like, "No."
I'm sorry. He said, I was
trying to make sure that you wasn't a young girl. I was like, "No." And that's when he proceeded to talk to me, and he got my number. I got his.
Was he insinuating that you were a young girl?
Because I looked at him, he was like, "Oh, no, I just don't want the police to come up behind me and say you young I was like, no, I'm old enough. And he proceeded to communicate with me and talk, and that's when he gave me his number, and we ended up talking on the phone.
Granville Williams, who had at the time actually given his name to Ebony as Trevor, has a disturbing criminal history. A Jamaican-born American who had charges laid against him in 2013, the year prior, for assault against his estranged wife. He was arrested for raping and strangling her at gunpoint. The state was forced to drop the case, though, when the victim redacted her statement and said she didn't remember the attack happening. On top of this, after he was in custody for the murder of Felicia Williams, 4 more charges were placed against him for sexual misconduct with a child. The 12-year-old girl had come forward to speak to police about her interactions with him post his arrest. After Ebony had exchanged her phone number with this man, they would begin to talk on the phone immediately and organize the hangout for that night.
Was this the first time that you had been to his apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there any discussion before on the phone that that's where you all would hang out that night for the
No.
date?
No.
So when you went to the apartment, you said that you were drinking Hennessy?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how many drinks you had?
Oh, probably like 2.
Did the defendant drink any Hennessy?
Yes.
Do you know how many drinks he had?
Probably like 2 too.
And you said that you took some drugs?
Yes,
Who gave you those drugs?
he did.
And who is he, the defendant?
Yes.
And what drugs did he give you?
He gave me Molly.
Did you and the defendant engage in sex at all that night?
Yes, we did.
And where is it that you had sex with the defendant?
In the room.
In what room?
He presented the room that was his mom's.
He had told you it was his mother's room?
Yes.
What was in that room?
It was a bed.
Did you spend the night or stay for a few hours and then go home?
I can't recall that I spent the night, but I believe I spent the night. I can't remember.
Do you recall how you got home?
Yes, he took me home.
Do you recall if you had to work that next day?
I believe I did have to work. I'm not sure, but yes, I believe I had to work because it was on a weekday. Yes.
So you would have had to be at work at 7 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
So you telling me?
Did you have,
So you telling me this man came all the way from Jamaica to come to America just to be homeless and shit, and then get a sack full of Molly, so he could buy him some sex in America? Come on, man, y'all got to be kidding me.
feelings for the defendant when you...
Now you gonna take him to his mama's house or some shit like that? I don't even believe none of that. He told you that was his mama's house. If the nigga had a mama, he would have had somewhere to stay. So that don't even make sense to me. What the hell are you talking about? I bet you, where's his mama at? You lying motherfuckers. He didn't even have a mama. Your motherfuckers probably was staying in an abandoned shack or something. One of them abandoned apartments they be having in them damn projects and shit. Because if the nigga was just, he was borrowing somebody else's car to get around, I don't even know how he was doing that.
I did.
When did you start developing feelings for him?
That night. That night we had a nice conversation about life and relationship.
Man, they came all the way to America to be homeless and be mad at everybody else and blame them because his punk ass got on that ship and believed in that fairy tale. It was the land of milk and honey and gold, and it was jobs every fucking where, falling out the goddamn sky.
And I thought we was going to take it further, but...
And he came before the pandemic, so he
when
ain't supposed to have no
you
excuse.
had a nice conversation about relationships and life, can you go into a little bit more detail about what...
He full of shit. He thought he was a player, a playboy, was using everybody. They got tired of his ass, and he burnt all his bridges, and it was time to go anyway. And then he was using them chicks and telling them he got this super scam. He finna rip off the world, rob the world, and they fell for that shit.
What you talked about?
He sold me a dream. That's what I believe. He sold me a dream.
Yeah, see? He sold me a dream. Listen, we finna rip off everything. We finna be Bonnie and Clyde. We finna terrorize everything.
A dream?
Yeah, he was like, oh, I make a lot of plenty of money. I'm going to take you work with me,
Well,
you know, and stuff like
she
that.
needs to stop lying. How the fuck is he making plenty of money and having sex with you on the floor in his mama's bedroom? He ain't even got an apartment. Nigga he ain't even got a car. And, nigga, come on, man.
He's over there drinking, that's what I believe.
What did he tell you that he did for a living?
Work on phone towers.
Work on phone
Work on phone
towers.
towers.
Did you think?
I'm starting to think she just making up shit. You know what I mean? To make herself look innocent, like she was a victim. That bitch didn't believe none of this shit. I think she was in on this with him.
That you were falling in love with him?
Yeah, I did.
You did fall in love with him?
Nigga was never on his way to work.
35-year-old Granville would tell Ebony.
Hey, well, if you believe he had a job, why you didn't never say, well, he was going to work? You never mentioned one time you seen him go to work at all.
That he was single and gave no hint that he was involved with any other women. Over the next 2 days, they would
These
stay in
motherfuckers
communication
is full of
almost
shit.
constantly, and this is reflected by extensive phone records. Ebony was.
He was, man, this is like them ladies is like, if he was a player and he had all these ladies and shit, but we already know he wasn't. He was this strong-arm wife beater motherfucker, dictator trying to tell everybody what to do, and if they wasn't perfect, they gotta pay the. He was never satisfied. Put it like that. You could never make that motherfucker happy. So he was a miserable ass person, and everybody who got in touch with him found that out and tried to get the fuck away from him. That's what happened.
Falling for this man and even saved his contact in her phone as my husband, as he promised to marry her one day. During one of these many conversations that they had, Granville would learn about Ebony's goddaughter, Felicia.
Miserable and
In
selfish.
any of those conversations, did you bring up Felicia Williams?
It was that day I brung up Sugar Plum.
I don't even know why that lady calling her Sugar Plum. The reason she did is because your punk ass introduced her to the man. You the one who put her in the back seat. You the one who did all that. I don't know why they ain't put her ass in jail too. She the one who set the little girl up. She the one who befriended her and put her in danger and all that shit.
I believe that
This lady just as guilty as him.
that Thursday or that Wednesday, my manager came to me, someone came to me and said that it was a young girl coming up to the job looking for you and stuff like that. And I think that was the second time she had told me about Sugar Plum coming up to the job. And really I was going to decide to call HRS and going
You a
towards
damn
HRS
liar.
because I'm like, I know the school hours and I'm like wondering why she's showing up at the job around school hours.
You was over there talking about, I don't give a fuck, as long as you got some Molly, you could do whatever you want to the little girl. I'm telling you, she a wicked ass person too. You look at her.
And then I called him and vented to him.
When you say you called him and vented to
The
him,
fuck
is that
you
the
calling
defendant?
him for?
Right.
To tell him
and
about,
did-
oh, we got one. You can do whatever you want. Just give me some Molly. You could have her. You a motherfucker. She a punk ass lie. That bitch was selling that little girl. I don't know why she ain't on charges too. We all can see that shit. What the fuck you talking about? Somebody came and got your little kid and was talking about, oh, I introduced him to this old ass child molesting motherfucker and now your baby dead. Come on, miss me with that. Y'all gotta miss me with that one.
It was that day.
Stop lying. It's lying again.
I believe that Thursday, Wednesday, my manager came to me, someone came to me and said that it was a young girl coming up to the job looking for you and stuff like that. And I think that was the second time she had told me about Sugar Plum coming up to the job. And really I was going to decide to call HRS and going towards her mother's house because I'm like, I know the school hours and I'm like wondering why
Sugar
she's
Plum.
at the job around school hours. And then I called him and vented to him.
When you say you called him and vented to him, is that
Why you call her Sugar Plum? What, she gotta get picked or something? She ripe or something? Sugar Plum? That sound like derogatory right there.
the defendant?
Right.
And did you vent to him about
Incriminate.
concern about Felicia coming up to your job?
Sugar
correct.
Plum. That a bitch.
Correct.
And what was his response when you?
Cause I brought it up. I was like, I'm gonna call HRS on her mother. And he was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, my God, child, she's showing up at my job during school hours. And I'm like, how?
You a damn lie. You was a drug addict and you seen this little girl and you took advantage of her and you was selling her to dude. And you trying to talk your way out of it. That's what I think. And if nobody else don't think that, I don't see how. I bet you wouldn't let nobody take your little girl. You wouldn't let this lady right here take your little girl nowhere. If you did, you probably wouldn't see her no more. Because you know these damn slick ass, these people, they put on a good ass poker face. But underneath that poker face is a demon.
In the world, this child is out the door around this time of day, and she's not at school. And he was like, no, don't do that. That might be a gift. You know, you need to care for the child. You know, maybe you need to take her to McDonald's. We need to take her to McDonald's and sit down and talk to her. And I thought about it, I was like, you know what, you're right. Okay, we can do that. We can do that.
Ebony would organize with Granville that he was going to pick her up that day after she finished work. They would then drive.
How many of y'all is gonna let her pick y'all daughter up? Come on, she part of this. I don't know why she ain't on trial too.
To Felicia Williams' house and collect the child.
If it wasn't for her, he wouldn't even have access to that little girl. This lady is just as guilty, and I don't see how they be letting these motherfuckers off just because they talking about, oh, I'm going to testify against this other motherfucker. You don't need her to testify against nobody. You already got all the evidence. Lock her ass up, too. You don't need her.
Then take her to a nearby McDonald's to discuss with her her recent rebellious behavior. Granville, who worked as a repairman on cellular towers but was frequently unemployed, did not own the vehicle that he drove around in. At the time of this incident, he had no home but would often stay with his girlfriend, Calissa Kelly, the owner of the silver Lexus. On the day of May 16, which was the day that Ebony and he had planned this intervention of sorts for young Felicia, Granville and his girlfriend Calissa were at a moneylender facility. Calissa was there with her silver Lexus as she was going to use the title of this vehicle as collateral to apply for a loan.
At some point, did the defendant enter the residence and approach you?
Yes.
And what did he say to you?
I believe he asked me maybe how much longer I was going to be at that time. Not really sure.
Okay. Did he say something about having to leave or you needed
Eventually, he did say he needed to leave.
Okay.
He would be back.
In fact, did he leave the Insta-loan after that first time and then come back in a second time?
I don't think he left the premises. I think maybe he went back outside. But he didn't leave in the vehicle. He just went back outside.
That's what I meant. He left inside the business and walked back towards the vehicle.
Correct.
And then he came back in the business a later time?
A few minutes afterwards.
Okay.
Yes.
And you have seen today, I think a couple weeks ago when you came into my office, you've seen a video from that lobby that
Correct.
reflects you being there and shows the defendant coming in and out.
Yes.
The second time he came in and approached you, did he tell you he needed to leave?
I think that's when he told me that he would be back. He had to go do something. Yeah.
Okay. And you were indicating to him that he didn't know the area,
Correct.
St. Petersburg.
Correct.
So you were trying to figure out what would you have to do in this area.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's what you gonna do.
And so he was telling you he needed to leave.
Correct.
Now at some point, he walks out after telling you that, is that right?
Correct.
And do you at some point get up and go out and follow him out?
When he told me, I didn't have a chance to speak because I was in the middle of doing something with the young lady. But when I finished signing it, that's when I got up to try to catch him, to ask him, like, where were you going? You don't even know anybody around here. So that's how that conversation went.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
You don't even know nobody around this motherfucker.
I was trying to get him to tell me where he was going, and I also was trying to get him to wait on me because it wasn't going to be that much longer.
did he do that?
No.
Hell no.
Did he leave?
Yes.
And how did that make you feel?
I wasn't happy.
Would it be fair to say you were upset?
Yes, a little.
Okay. And later, did you get more upset?
Yes.
Because when he left, he told you he'd be right back, right?
Yes.
But he didn't come right back, did he?
Because he's driving.
She believes he is not capable of this crime and has
Ah,
firmly supported him
dang.
even after his arrest and conviction,
She was
maintaining
driving
the
his
relationship
car.
throughout his incarceration. Prior to the
And
trial,
she asking him
Granville
where he at.
encouraged Calissa to not attend the trial, and Calissa was served a
And he out
subpoena
there
to attend court. The animosity between
with
the
that little
prosecutor
girl.
and Calissa can be felt a number
That
of times
9-year-old
throughout
girl.
her testimony.
And Miss Kelly, you are still in a relationship with this defendant, aren't you?
I am still his friend, yeah.
You know that what he's charged with, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Capital murder of a little girl and raping her. And for the last 5 years, you've remained his girlfriend, correct? Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And in fact, you have visited him at the Hillsborough County Jail over 366 times.
Have I?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I
Isn't
didn't
that
know
true?
that. I don't know the numbers, but I've been there.
And you have talked to him on the phone over 2,000 times over the last 5 years. Isn't that right?
Wow. I wasn't didn't
Isn't that
know.
correct?
I can't say that's correct. All I can say is I do speak to him on the phone. I don't know the many times that I've spoken to him on the phone, but you are correct. We do still speak on the phone.
One moment, Your Honor. And I think when you came to meet with me, and I was remiss not asking this earlier, you had told me that you had provided money to the defendant, correct, while he's been in jail?
So what he's trying to do is trying to say that this lady will do anything for him. Lie for him, give him his car, let him go kill a little baby 8, 9 years old, do anything for him. So it's just like, ain't none of them no good. That's why I say put all their ass in jail. Or put her ass in jail for letting them use her car.
For canteen?
For canteen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he can buy food, snacks, things like that, correct?
Correct.
For the last 5 years.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, how much total do you think that is?
You don't know?
Hell yeah, I know.
I can't tell you. I didn't tell you the numbers of visit and the
Is
number.
it over
of
$1,000?
It is it? I don't know. Sorry.
Is
I
it
didn't
over?
keep it
Is
up.
it over $5,000?
I don't know. I just know I did it from my heart. I don't know how much it was.
I don't know, but this nigga was
I
dropping
wasn't
some
counting.
Molly
Okay, so
and some
you
drugs.
get dragged into
He had
an
the
investigation
connection
that
and
you don't know anything
he
about.
was a hustler.
The defendant takes your car and leaves you stranded. You're questioned by detectives. They seize your Lexus that you haven't gotten back
Yep.
to this day. And you still are in love with this defendant to the
Idiot.
point where you go see him at the jail all the time and you call him, or you talk to him all the time when he calls you. Right? Is that right,
No,
ma'am?
you're wrong. You're wrong about some of the things you just said. You're wrong about me being in love with him. So no, that's not the reason. The reason is because I want to know as well some things, and the reason is we are friends. That's what friends do.
In fact, when you came to talk to me at the state attorney's office 4 weeks ago, who were you with when you walked up to the 3rd floor of my office? Who was with you? Who traveled with you that day?
Gloria?
Gloria Gibson,
Correct.
this defendant's mother.
Correct.
Ma'am, you are in a relationship with him, you love him, to the point where you travel places with his mother, correct?
Not often. What does that have to do with anything?
The fact that you're in love with him?
No, the fact that you understand that I am. Did I
Ma'am,
ever
it has
tell you that?
It has everything to do with your
Did I?
testimony.
One at a time.
When you asked me that, I told you no, right?
Miss Kelly, don't you think these jurors are entitled to know the nature of your relationship to this defendant since you're testifying in a case where he's charged?
Not really.
The truth about that?
The truth is that I'm not in love with him. That's what you asked me previously, and I told you no. So you're saying that to put emphasis on the relationship that we already had for 5 years.
And it goes back before the 5 years.
It does.
For maybe 2 years.
Probably
So 7 years you've been in a relationship with him.
7 years, yeah.
Are you prepared to tell us now what you did with your loan money?
I wasn't. I don't have to tell you that.
You don't want us to know about that?
Yeah,
Will that
spend it
help
on.
you with this little?
Damn. She luckily she got a loan on that motherfucker. She ain't never getting it back from the police. And she used the loan money to buy his ass some zoom zooms and wham whams, and probably got him a lawyer. That's what she used the loan money for.
Girl case.
For some reason you don't want to tell us?
If it's gonna help you, I will tell you. So is it gonna help you with this case or not?
Are you going to tell us or not?
I don't think it's gonna help you. So that'll be a
You
no.
don't want to tell us, do you?
I don't think you need to know. It's
You don't want
irrelevant.
this jury to know, do you? I have nothing else, Ron.
All right, Ross.
Imagine a diet-free and exercise-free weight loss method so powerful it could help you lose 40 pounds in just 4 weeks.
Stop lying.
That's what Brenda,
Stop lying.
a
Stop
46-year-old
lying.
mother, was able to do.
Having left his girlfriend stranded and using her car, he would drive back to Tampa and pick up Ebony from work. Then the two would drive to Felicia's house.
So what happens when the defendant comes to pick you up?
He came and picked me up. I got in the car and we rode around there, and I knocked on the door and I told Sugar Plum, come over for to go
When you say we rode around there, what do you mean?
to Sugar Plum house.
And was
You mean y'all went and
Felicia
picked the
there?
little girl up?
She was there.
And got a
So
bitch?
did Felicia go and get in the silver Lexus?
Yes, she did.
You
And
went
did you
and
go
picked
get
the
some
little
Lexus?
girl up,
Yes,
went
I
to a house.
And who was driving?
I'm sorry, y'all. Take her bitch ass to jail, too. I don't know how y'all don't see that part. I don't even know why the white folks that's prosecuting him don't see that part. She was the main ingredient that brought them together. She seemed like the motherfucker with all the hate in her. She had so much hate, she gonna put that little girl at risk like that. She knew she was dealing with a crazy motherfucker, cause he had already did some crazy shit to his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or whoever the fuck he was dealing with.
Granville,
And where were you sitting?
in the front seat,
And where was Felicia sitting?
in the back seat.
When you left Felicia's house, where did you think that you were going to go to?
McDonald's.
Did the defendant drive you to McDonald's?
No, he did not.
Where did you go?
He was riding towards
To the
his
crack house, bitch.
and
They keep on saying Molly. I bet you they was smoking crack, man. They keep on talking that Molly shit. Yeah, bitch, they had some crack.
I'm looking like, I believe he done, I'm not sure that he
She don't
said
look
that,
like
but
she
that's
taking
what
no
he-
Molly.
I know that's what, that was
Look
not
like
the
she
plan.
ready to smoke some crack,
And when
though.
I seen that we was going towards his house, I'm looking at, I'm saying in my head, I'm like, she hungry, you know what I'm saying? And he like, oh, he said out of the blue, or my mom cook, and I'm like, she's not for eat your mama food.
Granville would not take the two to McDonald's as he had promised, but instead drove them in the opposite direction to his mother's apartment in Temple Terrace. On the way to the apartment, Granville stopped at a Checkers restaurant and bought Felicia some food. and then offered
Okay.
Ebony
Oh, okay, I got it now. It wasn't his mother's house, it was his mother's apartment. Okay, that makes more sense. An apartment. I didn't think, I was gonna say if she had a house, nigga, it'd be a big old family there.
some MDMA.
So we got close to almost the destination, which is over in Temperatures, which is his house. He showed me while I was in the car. He wiggled the bag, and I'm like, oh shoot, he got drugs, and I know I with Sugar Plum, and I'm like, oh my God. So by the time we
I
got,
told you he had the drugs, and that's why she brought the little girl and all that. She was getting paid off with the drugs. She trying to switch the story around.
we parked, he gave it to me, and it was in my hand.
So was that already after you had gone to Checkers?
Right.
Okay.
As soon as we got to the apartments, when I noticed that that's where he was going, I'm like, I said, Sugar Plum, call your mother and let her know that you with me. And I dialed her number, and she let her mother know that she was with me.
Whose number did you dial?
Her mother number.
And what is her mother's name?
Felicia.
Felicia Demerson?
Yes, ma'am.
Did the three of you go upstairs?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, it was his apartment upstairs
Yes.
on the second floor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what happens when you all go into the apartment?
I know I took them out.
I'm sorry?
I had took them out, the drug that he gave me. We went upstairs. She sat down. She was already proceeding eating in the car, and she finished eating while she was up when we got upstairs.
Did you remain at the apartment with Felicia and the defendant?
When
when you, after you got there after church?
What the fuck is she talking about? See, no, this sound too retarded. Take her ass to jail, man. They pissing me off, man. They pissing me off.
Yeah.
Bartender?
How long were you there for?
We'll probably was there
Fuck
for like,
you, man.
I
You
was
done
there
took
for like
this little girl over a stranger's house and left her at the house because he gave you some drugs. I know it gotta be a charge for that shit.
10, 15 minutes. That's when he called. He went in the kitchen and he told me to come here. And as soon as I got up, that's when I felt under the influence. And he was
When
like,
you say you felt under the influence,
I
what do you
That
felt
means
the
I'm
right.
ready to go. I got my paycheck. Do whatever you want to do. Call me when y'all get back.
I'll leave, kick it in. I felt high. I started feeling high. So that's when he was like, went in the kitchen and he was like, do you know a way to get some weed from him? I was like, yeah. So I called my granddaddy and asked him, do he know who has some weed? And he was like, yeah, I know who got some weed, which is Windermere. And he's like, come to my house and he'll be over there.
Did you go over to your grandfather's house?
Yes, I did.
Did all three of you go to your grandfather's house?
No, ma'am.
That a bitch. No, fuck you. That's a phony ass excuse. That bitch gotta go to jail. I don't give a fuck what you say. What the fuck you gonna make up some excuse? You go get some weed. Well, the little girl coming with me. What? Why you didn't take the little girl with you? That's your responsibility. You don't leave her at that house talking about I went to go get some weed. This all sound like lies to me, y'all. And you know it's a lie too. And this lady right here is a fucking demon. And she needs to be charged too.
Where did Felicia go when you went to your grandfather's house?
So when I confirmed with him that, my granddaddy got some weed over there, I asked, I told Felicia to come on, which is Sugar Plum. I told her to come on, and he was like, no, you don't have no license, and you finna go get some weed so I can watch her. And I asked Sugar Plum, and she was okay, and she said, yeah. And I said, I'll be right back.
What you mean she said yeah? You a motherfucking lie. None of this didn't happen. They got that little girl over there, and they just did whatever the fuck they wanted to do to her. That's what happened. This lady right here is fucking lying. Talking about the girl agreed to stay there with dude, a fucking stranger. Hey man, give me a break.
So it was the defendant's decision for you to keep her there so that she wouldn't be in a car with you who didn't have a license or
Yes, ma'am.
who had marijuana.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you concerned at all about leaving her with somebody that she had never met before?
No, I wasn't concerned. I wasn't concerned. Because
I told y'all, if y'all don't believe me, y'all could just go donate your kids to her.
The first night I met him, and how he made me feel when we went to go and pick up Sugar Plum. So it was like he had that concern of like
He paid you to go pick up that little girl. He already plotted with you the plan that y'all was gonna do to the little girl. That's how I don't see how he talked himself out of this. How them white folks let her get away with this. I bet you if it was a little white girl, they wouldn't let her get away with this shit.
So how is it that you got?
I mean, not a little white girl, but if it was their daughter, they wouldn't have let them get away with that shit. They would have prosecuted all of them.
Grandfather's house,
He told me to drive his car.
meaning the silver Lexus.
Yes.
Ebony leaves the apartment with the young girl in the care of Granville Ritche. It takes her about 20 minutes to drive to her grandfather's house to collect the weed, and is gone for a total of around 50 minutes. When Ebony returns to the apartment complex, she calls Granville, who tells her that Felicia has gone to the local CVS as she wanted candy. He says that he did not want to go for a walk with her, so he gave her some money and sent her to the store alone. Ebony tries the gate code to the apartment complex that Granville provided her, but
She sound like one of them jealous ass, scandalous ass chicks who, like, in one of them hood rat chicks who take their motherfucking friend over there that they hate and jealous of over to some dude's house and let her get raped. Don't she? She sound just like one of them type of people that take her fucking friend over somebody's house with a whole bunch of dudes hiding in the closet and let them get raped. That's what she sound like to me. If she don't, won't you donate then? Go take your motherfucking friends over to her motherfucking house and see what happens.
It was incorrect, and he is now no longer answering his phone calls.
Motherfuckers don't. That little girl ain't. Hey man, I give everybody credit for not being fucking stupid. Even these damn criminals. That little girl didn't. She got trapped over there. They switched on her. She didn't know that was gonna happen to her. That lady is the one who betrayed her. She just as guilty as that man.
Unsure what to do, she goes to the CVS to look for Felicia. At the store, Felicia is nowhere to be found, so Ebony returns to the apartment complex once more.
I went straight back to the apartments.
Were you calling Granville or the defendant to let him know that Felicia was not at the apartment?
So halfway when I got almost there, he called me. And I was like, that's not the gate code. He was like, yes, it is. So when I got to the gate code, I typed it in again. And it was not the gate code. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting frustrated. So that's when I seen, it was a little boy who had approached me with a white karate suit on. And he was like, you trying to get in the gate? I was like, yes, can you come over here and type it in?
Yeah, bitch, because you ain't taking me nowhere. You see I got my white karate suit on. I let you in the gate, but that's about it. Don't try to convince me to jump in the car with no stranger. Can't you see I'm getting ready for people like you? Doomsday prepping, motherfucker.
He typed in the code and I came in.
Did you then
All
drive
the
back to
kids-
the apartment?
All the kids practice self-defense in that neighborhood.
Did you see the defendant back at the apartment?
Yes, I did.
And where did you see him at?
He was standing outside
Outside where?
of his door.
And he was upstairs standing outside of his door?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he look like?
He had no shirt on. He was
I'm sorry?
He ain't had no shirt on. He looked like he was sweating. Like he was just. And I looked up as I was driving. I looked up. I'm like, damn, what's going on? So I pulled in, drive through. I wasn't at
I wonder
the parking
what's
lot,
going
and I went
on.
upstairs.
Bitch.
And he was telling me they ain't gotta let her go to the store.
Come on, that sounds like a lie to me, y'all.
Were you
I wonder
concerned
what's going
that
on.
Felicia
She knew what
not
was
there
going
and you
on.
could not find her at the CVS.
Yes, I was very.
Y'all already know.
So what happened next?
Y'all wouldn't
That's when
trust
that's when he calmed down, and I started thinking, I'm like, oh my God, just great, and left and go up to the daggone store.
I'm
And
sorry,
after-
what was that?
After he done calmed down, that's when I sat there and I thought about it. I'm like, dang, she done went to the store, and he done let her go to the store. So that's when I was about to start panicking, like, why you let her go to the store? You know, she already ate, you know. And he was like, I don't know. She really wanted some candy. And I was like, I want to pray. And
I wanna pray.
Get in the closet and pray.
Oh no, see now.
So why did
See,
you
not
need to
only
go
don't they
closet?
Because
believe in
I
God,
was getting ready to panic.
but
You know,
they
I was
use
high,
God's name.
and I was trying to
Not only don't they believe in God, but they like play hating on God. They like blaming God and saying, "Hey God, I'm praying. I need some help. Can you help me?" And then if God don't help them, God ain't gonna help them kill a little girl. They talking about, oh no, don't help them cover up their lie. Don't lie for them and help them cover up their motherfucking crime. Then God, I guess God ain't real or some shit. So it's like, how the fuck you gonna be talking about God and you doing the devil's work?
just calm down. And I went in the car. He's like, you go in my mom's room.
Man, she
and
lying
you go
too
get
much
prayed."
for me.
And I just sat there.
She lying on God.
Got on my knees and started praying.
How long did you stay in that closet? Do you remember?
No longer than 20 minutes.
What was the next thing
I
you
wish
then
they
did?
coulda put
You
her
had Felicia
punk
return
ass,
during that time.
No, she did not.
In there
So what
instead
did
of
you
that
do
little girl.
next?
So I came out. He was rolling the blunt, and I took a drink, and he proceeded sexual towards me, and we had sex
And where is it that you had sex that time?
right there in the front room floor. Right there in the front room floor.
Was that the room that has the couches in it?
The front room, yes.
Okay.
Why not the cardboard box? The last one was using cardboard boxes as a bed and a coffee table. Nigga, y'all that stepped up? Y'all just gonna use the floor?
At all, did you and the
Y'all
defendant
gotta
go look
upgrade,
for the
huh?
victim out around the apartment?
No, we did not.
Why did you go look for the victim?
I was following his lead. He said, I'm gonna drop you off home. I was like,
You ain't
oh,
gonna
okay.
look for the
And
victim
I'm saying
because
to
you was
myself,
smoking
like,
crack.
maybe you was going to look for the little girl. Like, I'm saying
You
to
knew where
myself,
she
but
was. He told you where
it's his
she
car,
was.
and I can't.
If you go look for her, you already know where she at. But you gonna find her before the police? You gonna look guilty.
I waited till
So she
he
wasn't
dropped
going to
me
look
off,
for
and
shit.
then I called her sister and see where she was.
Was there a conversation about what you were going to do or what you were going to say about Felicia being missing?
Yes.
Ultimately, you were going to tell her family, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what conversation took place with regards to that?
He told me to tell her parents that it wasn't no male in the house, and then he told me that he's telling his mom was in the house, a female in the house.
Okay, so why did that whole conversation happen, and why is he telling you to say that there's no male in the
To
house?
make me seem like I wasn't no bad person leaving her, and he told her to go to the store.
Was he telling you that you would be viewed as a bad person?
Yes, ma'am.
That if you had left Felicia there with a man, that you would be viewed as the bad person?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What
Did you point out to him that he
already
was
know
the
that.
one that in fact told you that you needed to leave her with him?
To who?
Did you tell the defendant that?
No.
So you're just going along with it?
You just told all of us that he told you that you needed to leave her with him because you didn't have a license and that you was going to pick up some weed. And now you didn't change your mind? Damn. You was good at lying, but now you slipping.
What he's saying.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't be a
So-
single mother.
If you weren't going to be allowed to say that there was a man there at the house, what was the story going to be then?
That it was a woman there, and she left out the door. I took a shower and she left out the door. That was the lie that I told in the beginning.
Granville would concoct a story in which both Ebony and his mother, Gloria Gibson, became involved in. The story was that Ebony took Felicia to the apartment to visit Granville's mother. While she was there visiting, she took a shower, and this is when Felicia ran away as the door was left open. Ebony and Granville's mother, Gloria, agreed to stick by this story despite never having met each other. Granville then drives Ebony back to her home, and from here she would meet up with one of Felicia's sisters, whom in turn alerts her family that the young girl is missing. The family notifies police and a search for Felicia is commenced. The situation is only classed as a runaway child for a few hours and shortly escalates to a missing persons investigation. The search is extensive as flyers were handed out, door knocking and sniffer dogs were utilized, and Felicia Williams is looked for all across Temple Terrace. Ebony is questioned a number of times regarding the last time she saw Felicia, and the apartment is searched. The lie that Granville told his mother and Ebony to tell would continue to hold up as both women don't budge from the story. When Granville's mother was interviewed by police, she would play along so well as she would say that she recalls Felicia, the girl that she had never once met, was a mean young girl. A final police interview is conducted with Ebony, and this time she tells a different story. In this new story, she says that she was actually there to visit Granville, not his mother. She informs police that she was having sex with Granville in the other room, and when they finished, Felicia was nowhere to be found. After the interview, Ebony is arrested for providing false information in an investigation.
Why is it that you decided to change your story and then tell them that there was a man back there?
Thank you. I knew it was something wrong because I was like saying, wait a minute, this bitch would have got lynched if it was a little white girl from one of these prestigious white families. So I don't know how the fuck, So I guess they was all right. They put her ass in jail and see what they charge her with.
Because, I don't know, I just telling the truth. And then by the end of the night when they told me that she's dead, I was like, no, I really left her with this man. So if it's in
No. Now you busted and they gonna catch your ass, and then you gonna be an accessory to murder. That's why you changed your shit and you try and now you trying to cooperate. But they really don't need you. But you trying to jump up there real quick before that opportunity slip out the window, so that she could be like, okay, give me a deal because I'm gonna cooperate and turn evidence against him. But bitch, you the one who set her up, so I'd rather put her in jail than him. I mean, put him, you know what I mean? I mean, fuck, how is he? No, She the one who made all of that happen. She the fucking the worst of the worst. Even though that nigga was evil too. Oh, I mean, which one was more evil, man?
And somebody need to say something.
But when you told them that it was there a man, that a man was there, and you were in the shower and she walked away, that was not the truth, though, correct?
No, that was not the truth.
Did you stick with that story, or did you?
When they told me that she was dead, I told the truth.
When did you learn that Felicia was
Before
looking?
they arrested me.
Let me.
I want to know, well, if she wasn't dead, then she was going to come back and snitch on dude for raping her, and your punk ass was setting it up. So what you mean you didn't know she was dead? Either way it go, y'all was going down. So, I mean, what the fuck is you talking about?
Let me finish my question as far as the answer, okay? When you learned that Felicia had been found dead, where were you?
In the police station.
This same night of May 17th of 2014?
Right, that's it, yes.
And how is it that you learned that?
By the end of the night, they had put me in another room, and they sat me down, and it was like, now, you need to tell the truth. Where do you think she at? And I'm like, she probably somewhere in somebody's house. And they was
Did
like,
you honestly think that, or were
yes,
you?
I honestly thought that.
How do you
Damn.
think she would be in somebody's house?
Yeah, what the fuck wrong with
She
you?
was one friendly person.
Oh,
She
hell
was
no.
friendly to talk to anybody. She wasn't scared.
So you were told that she was found deceased, is that correct?
Yes.
And so what did you tell law enforcement then?
I told them that I lied. And it was like, what you lied about? I said I left her with Granville, and he wanted me to go and get some weed for him. And then when I came back, she wasn't there.
Did you tell them that you had gone to CVS looking for her?
I'm not sure. I told them all that. I don't even think they gave me a chance to tell them all that. They just arrested me. They said, you're arrested for giving false information.
And was this third time, this third story that you
No, he
told
should have
them,
been
was that then the
arrested
truth
for
of what happened?
accessory to murder.
Yes.
Everything that you have testified to here as to what you did on that day?
Yeah.
What the fuck she crying for? Man, y'all, no, hell no, she do not deserve to cry. That shit is phony and fake as fuck. And if anybody out there believe this fake ass lady right here, then I guess y'all gonna go out like that little girl did. Cause she talking about the little girl was so stupid she'd just follow anybody. You a damn lie. You put on an Academy Award fucking performance. That's why she followed you, you lying motherfucker. So I'm telling you, this lady ain't shit.
Paper towels right there, Miss Wiley.
Look at them fake ass tears, nigga.
The next day, which is May 17th at around noon, Maria Diaz has finished work at a laundromat and went to the beach to unwind with her friend.
De ahí estaba yo sentada ahí y el amistad mío se fue a sentar al lado mío y cuando me dijo que me levantara rápido porque hay algo ahí que estaba nadando en el agua.
So I went to sit down there. Then my friend came to sit down next to me, and he told me to get up quickly because there was something there in the water. Okay. And did you see that thing in the water? ¿Y usted pudo ver eso que estaba en el agua?
Sí, estaba al lado mío.
Yes, it was next to me. And what did it appear to be? ¿Y qué, lo que usted vio, qué le parecía a usted que era?
Lo miramos que era una persona porque se bajaba y su cabecita se bajaba y se veía que una cabecita así que estaba bajando y estaba subiendo y se bajaba.
We saw that it was a person because we saw the little head going up and down, the little head go up and down.
Felicia's body had been in the water for around 17 hours and was now sinking against the jagged rocks. As police recovered her body from the water, they noticed that Felicia had sustained a large amount of injuries post-mortem from hitting the side of the rocks.
Can you give us a brief overview of the injuries that you opined or that you observed?
I think the most notable thing was the body had multiple superficial injuries. That is, they didn't really go deep in the body, and those are distributed primarily across the front of the face and the chest. There's some lesser injuries, but all of those were post-mortem artifacts. That is, they happened after this girl was dead. There were other injuries that were external as well as internal that happened while she was alive. For example, she has some genital injuries. I believe those happened while she was alive. She had some injuries inside her throat that happened while she was alive. She had injuries to her shoulder that happened while she was alive. Injuries to her middle back that happened while she was alive.
Did you observe any injuries about her head?
Yes, there were several bleeds underneath her scalp. Again, those happened while she was alive. She also had some bleeding on the sides of her head that happened while she was alive. Those are associated with the strangulation injuries that I mentioned earlier.
For most of this section, the camera was pointed at the defendant, Granville Ritche, due to the graphic nature of the photos being displayed.
Can you explain what specifically we're looking at here and whether or not any injury is documented on these photographs?
This is the right, as you're looking, it's as though you were looking at Felicia. Her right eye is on our left, her left eye is on our right. And there is a eyelid retractor that's been placed in to open her eyes so you can really see the whites of her eye as well. And you see the little blood vessels here. That's the arteries joining the veins, the capillaries are in there. And the little red dots, those are the particular pinpoint bleeds. What happens is, if you're struggling to breathe, you put pressure on the blood within the blood vessels inside, and the capillaries there rupture. So it's a little different process. It's a different mechanism, but the end result's the same thing. That is these pinpoint bleeds.
And these pinpoint bleeds, specifically in this epicardium and the thymus area, are caused by consistent with manual strangulation. Is that
They are
correct?
consistent but not diagnostic of. Again, this is a non-specific finding. This doesn't prove or disprove strangulation. It's a very common finding in strangulation.
As we go further, are there items or injuries that you saw that do in fact point directly to manual strangulation?
Yes, actually, if you go back to strangulation in general, because you can also see it with ligatures or ropes around the neck, belts.
Pinpoint bleeds, specifically in this epicardium and the thymus area, are caused by consistent with manual strangulation. Is that
They are
correct?
consistent but not diagnostic of. Again, this is a non-specific finding. This doesn't prove or disprove strangulation. It's a very common finding in strangulation.
As we go further, are there items or injuries that you saw that do in fact point directly to manual strangulation?
Yes, actually, if you go back to strangulation in general, because you can also see it with ligatures or ropes around the neck, belts, that kind of thing. The hemorrhages in the whites of the eyes. That is a finding that you see in strangulation, either manual or ligature. And then internally, we're going to see some more findings that are more indicative of manual strangulation. That is the hemorrhages in the neck that we've already touched on. The hemorrhages in the temporalis muscles. Those are different types of asphyxiation, strangulation predominantly, and that could be either a ligature or manual.
Over almost a 3-hour testimony, Dr. James Downs will describe in graphic detail, using photos of the deceased girl's body, every single injury she sustained, both in life and after death. He meticulously outlines all of the injuries caused by the environment, and then details injuries to her neck, head, shoulders, legs, and vagina that could not have been caused by the environment.
Are pathologists typically able to say the death occurred at 5 p.m. on this date?
Only on TV.
Okay. Are your findings findings consistent with her death occurring at approximately 5 p.m., being placed into the water at approximately 11:30 p.m., and being found the next day at around 3 p.m.
Yes.
Dr. Downs, do you have an opinion as to whether or not the victim in this case was alive or dead when she was placed in the water?
I don't have any indication that she was alive. I can't completely dismiss that. But based on everything that I see, I believe she was dead when she was placed in the water.
Are all of the inflicted pre-mortem or pre-death injuries consistent with having been occurred at or around the time of her death?
They are.
Do you have an opinion as to the amount of time it would take a person to inflict all of those injuries that we have been discussing all afternoon?
They could certainly happen within a matter of minutes. We discussed the strangulation to the point of unconsciousness, continuing that grip for another couple of minutes. Add to that a couple of blows to the head, the forceful gripping or whatever it is that caused the bruising to the shoulders, the bruising to the back. That could all have happened in the order of minutes. The genital, it doesn't take long to have one thrust and you have that injury. So all told, it could have been maybe 5 minutes. Could be longer than that.
Minutes as a minimum. 5 minutes as a minimum.
And again, don't hold me to the 5 minutes. If you said 4 minutes, 30 seconds, I'd say sure, why not? But a ballpark, that's an estimate.
Are your findings consistent with a 9-year-old being attacked, raped, strangled?
Again, you used a term that I don't use. Forced sexual penetration, yes, and would be consistent with this manual strangulation as well, and attack.
Within a reasonable degree of medical certainty, what is the cause of death of Felicia Williams? Within a reasonable degree of medical certainty, what is the manner of death for Felicia Williams?
Well, actually, I'm just been asked within a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Go ahead and answer.
Manner of death is homicide.
No further questions, Judge.
Just before the discovery of Felicia's body, Granville Ritche was picked up by police as a possible suspect in the disappearance of the girl and interviewed. Throughout this interview, he maintained the same story as Ebony, that they were having sex and then the girl vanished. He tells police that on the night of May 16th, he drove around for a while looking for Felicia and then drove east to visit a friend. Phone tower data shows that he in fact drove west, not...
What do y'all have having sex got to do with the girl missing? We don't give a damn about y'all making a porno. We want to know where the girl at.
East, west towards the causeway near where Felicia's body was found. The phone records also show that during this time he was on the phone with someone. This someone happened to be another woman whose name is Ivy Van, a woman from Mississippi and whom was also in love with Granville. She had been in a relationship with him for around a year prior to these events, as they had met when he was repairing cellular towers in her area. The two would stay in regular contact via phone and text, and Ivy was unaware that he was in a relationship with Calissa. She would send Granville money frequently, which is shown via bank records and text messages. On the night of May 16th, around 11 p.m., approximately the time that Felicia was placed in the water, Granville calls his long-distance girlfriend, and they talk on the phone for a bit.
So that day when he called me, he said, "Baby, I'm listening to you and I'm ready to go back to work. I want us to, to move out of this thing and, start a family, start a relationship, get a relationship and start a family." And I said, "Oh, what happened? I'm happy, I was happy."
And so on that date when he called you at 11:11 p.m., did he sound upset or stressed in any way?
No.
Did he sound the way he normally did on all the Do you mean talking about your future and moving forward in your relationship?
A mountain of evidence would pile up against Granville over the course of the trial, with many links connecting him to the location of where Felicia's body was both placed in the water and then found. Felicia Williams' body was found in the Courtney Campbell Causeway, and traffic cameras show that the silver Lexus this was actually there when he said he was in a completely different location. A mangrove leaf was found in the headlamp.
The mangrove leaf.
Of the Lexus that matches the same plants on
he over there on Mr. Gilmore's property. He running over mangrove leaves all stuck in his headlights and shit. Damn, nigga, you all off the side of the road and shit. No, that's a traffic violation.
the causeway where the body was found. Scratches on the side of the Lexus that match recently caused damage to the plants on the side.
Scratches on the side of your car that shows that you damaged our plants? Boy, Mr. Gilmore's property.
Of the road. And sand found in the passenger
Nigga,
side.
you too wrong to be down here.
Of the vehicle that matches samples of the area. A 911 call was placed from Granville's phone that only lasted a few seconds at the time.
You driving somebody else's car and catching all these citations.
And the Felicia's disappearance.
Destroying private property.
No DNA was found on the sex kit, and no other DNA than Felicia's was found on her body.
Using condoms. You sound like you planned this. Why would you use a condom? You sound like a professional.
The prosecution
sound like you did this before.
And say that condoms were found amongst Granville's possessions in the vehicle, and also noted that it is quite common in cases that deal with sexual assault to see blunt force injuries the same that Felicia had, with no traces of DNA if a condom is used. A broken wheel and a zip from a suitcase were found in Granville's...
Sound like he did this before. He already had planned it out using condoms to cover up the evidence, all this, and his mind already demented. Sound like he did this shit before.
Mother's apartment, the same apartment that had scuff marks from the broken wheel dragged along the floor.
Not the apartment.
Prosecution said that Granville had stuffed Felicia's 110-pound body into the suitcase and then dragged it across the apartment in a panic, breaking the wheel and the zip. He then loaded the water. Granville called.
He didn't drag the...
of the area. A 911 call was placed from Granville's, the same that Felicia had, with no traces of DNA if a condom is used. A broken wheel and a zip from a suitcase were found in Granville's mother's apartment, the same apartment that had scuff marks.
Broken wheel in the apartment. Damn, this looks more like a mini house, though. This is kind of big apartment right here. The little girl walked in there thinking, well, they ain't gonna do nothing to me. Look at this, is a nice house. Little did she know this ain't his house. This just the bait to get you in here. And then she was thinking, well, the lady been so nice to me, they ain't gonna do nothing to me. No, man, that was the problem. Look, yeah, the house look all nice and all that, but their mind is messed up, man. And then he didn't go in there and scuffed up his mama's motherfucking apartment, getting this bullshit out of here. I mean, tearing the wheel off the damn suitcase.
From the broken wheel dragged along the floor. The prosecution said that Granville had stuffed Felicia's 110-pound body into the suitcase and then dragged it across the apartment in a panic, breaking the wheel and the zip. He then loaded the suitcase into the trunk of his girlfriend's car, and later that night at 11 p.m. drove to the Courtney Campbell Causeway to place the body in the water. Cell phone tower data not only puts him close to the location of the causeway, but directly conflicts with Granville's story of where he says that he was at that very time that Felicia's body was being placed nude into the dark, cold waters. The jury would reach a verdict of guilty for first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and capital sexual battery. This was not the end of the trial, though, as the penalty phase would need to be conducted to decide whether Granville would face the death penalty or not. For the state of Florida to be able to pursue the imposition of the death penalty, the prosecution must prove beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of a number of aggravating factors that accompanied the crime. In this case, the state would argue that the aggravating factors present are as follows. The victim of the capital felony was a person less than 12 years of age. The capital felony was committed while the defendant was engaged in the commission of a sexual battery. And 3, the capital felony was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. Here is a quote from court documents. In this case, the jury unanimously found that the state proved the aggravating factor of heinous, atrocious, or cruel beyond a reasonable doubt. Specifically, the court finds that the testimony of Dr. Upshaw Downs and Dr. Randall Alexander establishes that the child victim suffered numerous injuries to her head, neck, body, and genitalia during the course of sexual battery and homicide. Their testimonies established that the extensive injuries to the child victim's genitalia were indicative of forced sexual penetration. These injuries, when perpetrated against a 9-year-old girl, would be particularly painful as her body was not physiologically prepared to engage in sexual intercourse. Additionally, the testimony from Dr. Upshaw Downs regarding the extensive injuries to the child victim's neck, signs of internal injury and bleeding in the neck and head, hemorrhaging of the blood vessels of the eyes, and deep injuries to her tongue caused by forceful biting, all indicate that the victim was alive, conscious, and struggling for her life during the forced sexual assault and homicide. The expert testimony established that this process took several minutes at a minimum, allowing the victim to be fully aware of her impending death. Taken together, the facts in this case established that...
Guess he thought he could run from the truth, but, Carmen's kitchen, cooking up another safari. Hey man, God was watching him, and he talking about, like he gonna talk about God, and God is in control. That's why his ass will get on the grill right now to talking about, oh, God ain't in control, I'm in control. Well, we're gonna find out in a minute, buddy.
That the child victim suffered a horrendous, physically
Find out who
painful,
in
and
control.
psychologically torturous death at the hands of the defendant. End
Turned
quote.
into a
Dr.
monster.
Emily Lazarou would conduct an evaluation of Granville and his case. And here is a quote from...
Look at him, he can't even believe it. He like saying, demon possessed. How did I get demon possessed like that? You know what I mean? Damn, nigga, because the point is, if you were so damn perfect, so damn savoir-faire, why did you do that motherfucker shiesty ass hood rat shit? That's a hood rat move. It's like them hood rats talked you into that shit. That lady corrupted you by doing that to you, by telling you can get away with that shit and all that. You know what I mean? And then you coming from a country where they probably it was your tradition to do that shit, nigga. But you can't do that shit in America, nigga. Man, come on, man. They got forensics.
Court documents in regards to her findings that he suffers antisocial personality disorder. Quote.
No, I ain't saying that give you an excuse. I'm saying, man, you need some damn you still player hating on God, blood. That's his problem.
Report of her diagnosis, Dr. Lazarou emphasized the defendant's pattern of deceitfulness and manipulation of others for his own benefit or pleasure. His consistent irresponsibility with regard to his financial obligations and his lack of remorse for having hurt or mistreated others, amongst other criteria, indicates a diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder. Dr. Lazarou supported her findings by pointing out the defendant's pattern of manipulating women in his life to financially support him, as well as the manipulation of Ebony Wiley prior to the offense in order to get the child victim in this case alone with him. The actions preceding the sexual assault and murder of the child were carefully thought out and executed in an effort to avoid the responsibility for the offense. She explained that these are not behaviors of someone who is incapable of controlling their actions due to mental defects, but were instead the result of careful forethought and planning.
Thank you.
Quote, a number of mitigating...
Thank you. He planned all this shit out. He planned his own self-destruction.
Factors were presented by the defense and considered by the jury, such as the defendant's claim, backed up by video testimonies of people in his family.
But what it is like he was so high on it, intoxicated on his own fairy tale, right? Until that lady slipped right up under him and gave him that fake ass, evil ass, demonic shit he was talking about. Go give me one of them little young bitches. I could just do all this and all that. He said, nigga, you gonna go to jail? I ain't going to jail. I'm too motherfucking perfect. I'm too smart. I know everything. And that overconfidence and mixed with that lady who went and got the victim, that shit made a formula, right? And then that formula, like, blew up in their motherfucking face. I mean, what I mean is it happened. It took the spark and the flame to make the bomb. You know what I mean? To blow that shit up. You know what I mean? So, and then the gas to make the flame. I mean, yeah, to make the flame, and the bomb to blow it up. So them two together, they was like dynamite.
Village of origin, that he was raised in a poverty-stricken area of Jamaica, and that his father was violent and abusive towards him. He says that he suffered years of emotional and physical abuse, including severe head injuries that caused brain damage at the hands of his father, who was also frequently not home, leaving the defendant, the oldest of 18 siblings, to care and raise them all. Ultimately, the jury would conclude that the mitigating factors were not enough, and Granville Ritche was sentenced to death. His punishment was deemed just, but it will still never be enough of a price to pay for the life that he took from Felicia Williams.
On December 9th, 2004, at 1:56 p.m., God blessed me with an 8-pound, 1-ounce healthy baby girl who I had the honor of naming Felicia Nicole Williams. But to others, she was known as Sugar Plum. I knew when she was first born that she would be my special child. And that's because she had that drive and will and was always determined to make things happen. I can remember back in June of 2013 when I had my foot surgery. She stayed in the house the whole entire summer nursing me back to health. And not only did she do that, she also cooked for me, bathed me, and Sugar Plum also at the time of my surgery made sure my baby, who was 2 years old at the time, was well cared for. Even though Felicia was 9 years old, she was very smart, advanced, and very wise beyond her years. Like an elderly person would say, she was an old soul. Felicia loved riding her 3 bikes that she got for Christmas that following year. She liked going to the park and enjoying going to the pond and feeding the ducks. She was a cheerleader. She sang faithfully in the youth choir at New Zion Holiness Church, where I am a faithful member.
All at 9 years
She
old.
was active with the International Free and Accepted Modern Masons and Order of the Eastern Stars Blue Violet Youth Court
At
number
9
203,
years old.
which has now been renamed in her honor as Blue Violet. Felicia Williams.
Something wrong with this picture. Is everybody lying, y'all? Because if it was like that, well, ain't half of us doing that, what she talking about, somebody at 9 doing. What was, then why did you have her with this badass molly head, crackhead lady who was trying to sell her to the motherfucking, Freddy Krueger and shit? You know what I mean? So how the hell did that happen? If y'all was so in love with this little girl, which I call an orphan, because that's how she went out, like she didn't even have a family. And then the whole story in the neighborhood is that she ain't got a family, and you calling, and they calling you talking about, y'all got her? Yeah, we got her. She okay. And all that shit. What you mean somebody else got your daughter? If she had all these spots that you talking about, she had church, she had this place, she had that place, and all that shit, then how did she get caught up like she did? What the fuck was she doing with these crackheads and molly heads and motherfuckers, pimps and shit, and who can't get it, who can't keep a job or some shit, who want a job, pimp that want a job, nigga, some motherfucking lying motherfucker. How the hell did this happen? So y'all can listen to this speech if you want to. I was getting kind of teary-eyed until I thought to myself, wait a minute. She doing all this shit. She was the Eastern Mason Stars and rolling with Farrakhan and all this. I'm just saying that. She doing all this? No, this sounds like child neglect to me, y'all. And then they gonna come up here and she gonna make a speech out the little girl. Like she really did something. Not the little girl, like she doing something. She showing off. And then had the little girl over there with these badass people. What's going on, man? I can't, this speech is taking me, it's making me say, damn, damn, nobody don't believe in God. God watching all these people and they sitting up here talking all this crazy, all this nonsense.
I knew when she was first born that she would be my special child.
Okay.
And that's because she had that drive and will and was always determined to
Sounds
make
good.
things happen. I can remember back in June of 2013
Okay.
when I had my foot surgery.
Yeah.
She stayed in the house the whole entire summer.
The whole
nursing me back
summer.
to health. And not only did
She stayed in the whole summer, but all of a sudden she running around with motherfuckers taking her to McDonald's because she hungry.
she do that, she also cooked for me,
Cooked what?
bathed me.
Cook what? She get rolling with the next motherfucker. She ain't got shit to eat, and they say she's starving and need a burger.
And Sugar Plum also at the time of my surgery made sure my baby, who was 2 years old at the time, was well cared for.
I don't know about that.
Even though Felicia
He might be next if Sugar Plum shit.
was 9 years old,
You make
she
the
was
call.
very smart, advanced, and very wise beyond her years.
I think when your next little baby get 9, she might want to move out. Get the fuck on.
Like an elderly person would say,
Yeah.
she was an old soul. Felicia loved riding
Go straight to the adoption center and say, I want to get adopted.
her 3 bikes that
I admit I ain't got a family and I'm an orphan, and before they do me like they did my sister, just adopt me out.
she got for Christmas that following year. She liked going to the park and
And
enjoying.
then she gonna say, we got her 3 bikes for Christmas last year. Well, she got 3 bikes, but where the burger at? Nigga, she starving with 3 bikes. What you did? Found them on the street or somebody stole them?
Going to the park
We can't eat no bike.
and feeding the ducks.
No,
She
we
was
be
a
eating them
cheerleader.
ducks.
She sang faithfully
When we
in the
feeding them,
choir
what you mean
at the
feeding
New
the
Zion
ducks?
Holiness Church, where I am a faithful member.
Okay,
She was active with the International Free and Accepted Modern Masons
Okay.
in Order of the Eastern Stars,
All right.
Blue Valley Youth Court, number 203,
okay.
which has now been renamed in her honor as
Okay.
Blue Valley Felicia Williams Youth Court, number 203. In our church, they honor her by setting a seat aside with a black bow in remembrance of her for 30 days. I could remember the last conversation I had with Sugar Plum on May 16, 2014 at 4 p.m. And she never departed from her mommy without telling me that she loved me. Sugar Plum didn't only touch lives through death, she also touched lives through living. Sugar Plum had her first job at a local barbershop, sweeping the floor and taking the trash out. She never met a stranger. She came home at times after riding her bicycle bearing gifts from where she helped a neighbor or elderly person take out their trash, feeding their dogs, or just sitting on their porch and keeping them company. But you truly will never understand what a unique individual you.
I apologize, y'all, but ain't nothing wrong with little Sugar Plum. She got a big giant heart, right? She got the heart of an angel, right? Angel heart, right? But due to the neighborhood she was living in and the people that was around and the adults that was mentally ill around her and shit, damn, what I mean that, she couldn't have. What was her protection? She couldn't be that nice and survive. She couldn't be doing all that. Her mama, somebody messed her mind up. She was supposed to be more defensive than that. She was supposed to be on alert. What the hell they got on? I mean, when we grew up, they was talking about lock your door, don't talk to strangers, all that shit. How the fuck did she get to, I'm going to help the elderly. I'm going to help every motherfucking body I can. I'll even help the fucking Chester the molester. How the fuck she get to that point? You know what I mean? So I'm saying, like, and this lady over here talking about, we went to church every week. She was the leader of the youth corps and all this other stuff. She was a Freemason. She did a whole bunch of shit at 9 years old. She even healed me. Thank you, Jesus. Some shit like that. Come on, man. That don't even make sense to me. It just don't.
Took from us. Not only was she a daughter, she was a granddaughter to 4 sets of grandparents, a goddaughter, a niece, whom one of her aunts gave the honor of being nicknamed.
It looked like somebody tried to turn her into some motherfucking, I don't know what they turned her into, but some kind of way somebody wasn't saying, hey, watch your back, watch your back. Wasn't nobody watching her back. She was watching everybody else back, but it don't look like nobody, the proof is in the pudding, man. Come on now. Look where she wound up. She was watching everybody else back, but who the hell, and somebody was supposed to be teaching her to watch her own back. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by that. Nobody wasn't teaching her to watch her own back, man. We grew up and they was telling us don't talk to strangers and shit. What happened to that?
Sugar plum. And she was an awesome aunt herself to her 2 nieces at the time of her demise. She was a sister to her 6 siblings who miss her tremendously and her every day.
Looked like the whole damn system felt that little girl. She got failed. The whole system failed her.
Felicia's death has
It's
affected
like
my life.
she almost made it though, because if she'd have made it to 11 or something like that, she could have seen that I'm the only one that's gonna help me. You know, I'm the only one that got my back. You know, because this ain't working.
And took its toll on my entire family. Even though it's been 5 years, it feels like 5 days ago. I have not yet returned to work.
The true cause of vision loss is finally revealed. Find out what you can do about it. You won't need glasses anymore. Do you want to know how to get rid of bad vision for good? Then you need to see the stunning eyesight transformation. A 63-year-old woman whose vision had been deteriorating for over 12 years
You look like
was
an alien.
treated with a non-invasive.
Damn. You ain't lying, you lost your vision. Well, there you go, y'all. There you go. That's how they doing it. That's how they doing the little young kids and shit. They growing up. They already got to be adults before so they can move out in case their damn parents is neglecting them or something. Ain't got their back. Once they find out they're the only ones got their own back, it's time to move on, y'all. Time to move out. Ain't that a damn shame? With prices going up, and then they got these laws that they got to graduate from school before they can get a job. You know, they better lower that get a job age to at least 16, 15. The way this is going, motherfuckers going to have to move out earlier because they growing up too early. You know what I'm saying? Little kids going to have to move out in a minute, y'all. The parents keep doing this shit, cause this. Talking about we loved them, we took them to church, we took them everywhere we could, and some kind of way they want